How you doing, YouTube? Matt, Massive Beer Reviews, back with yet another review. A little bit of Jersey-born funkiness, a little farm funkiness, if you will, in the form of Kelly Green Brewing. It is their glass eyes. This is a Saison fermented and aged in wine barrels with our house mixed culture condition on atop cherries and plums. Kelly Green Brewing, Pittman, New Jersey, done and done. Label-wise, pretty damn cool stuff. I dig it. Simplistic, kind of like I don't know. Reminds me of the '80s for some reason. I said that during when I did the last one. So anyway, I've only had one beer from these guys before. That was actually another funky beer of theirs. It was really cool. I kind of dug it. It came off as kind of like a tart, funky version of kind of like a hazy. The way it kind of played with the hops and stuff like that. So I'm kind of curious to see what the way this one comes off. Kelly Green, haven't been to the brewery. They're in Jersey, but they're a decent distance away from where I live. But the guy who takes care of the barrel program down there, Ed, and I think his name was Ed. I'm so bad at remembering names. He actually just shot me a mail and said, "Hey man, you want to check out some of our beer?" And I said, "Absolutely." So what do we have going on here? Give it a swirl. Try to get rid of that dirty glass mafia. Yeah, I mean, sun's hitting perfect right now just to kind of showcase the beer. It has a rich kind of berry-like hue to it. It's got that nice, soft, hazy kind of raspberry mixed with peachy kind of color. Definitely kind of plum fleshiness to it more than cherries. But yeah, it has that kind of fruit addition. I'm getting wafts of nice, soft, fruited tartness from a distance. Pinky finger of decently rocky head, even in an aggressive swirl. Usually it kind of curbs that, but it still kind of has that going on. Definitely kind of almost bone white head. She looks like a nice funky little sour. See what the nose has. Man, that fruit comes from so many different directions, and I think it's actually coming from the beer itself along with the actual fruit additions. I mean, the plum is leading the way here for me. You're getting a nice soft cherry to it, nothing too crazy. Cherry can come off a little bit green for me, oddly enough. A lot of times on beers, especially in the nose, it's a soft cherry, but there's a big, huge plum fleshiness. I grew up in Jersey, not here, down by the shore, and we had this plum tree in my front yard, and I used to just eat plums off of it all the time. It's just kind of take me back to that moment, which that in of itself kind of makes me like the beer. Whenever a beer can kind of elicit memory, whether it be of the beer, great beer you've had before, or just awesome life events, that's pretty cool. And she smells just has a nice soft acidity to it, nothing too crazy. Somewhere above your kettle level, sour, but definitely not enamel ripping. It's kind of a theme I've gotten over the couple two beers I've had so far from Kelly Green, and it's just the way the fruit plays. But it still smells like a beer. There's a nice soft kind of, almost like wheat-like kind of malt base to it, and it's got enough sweetness to kind of bounce off that acidity. And not getting much as far as bittering in the nose. It's just more plums and plums and plums and fruits and a little bit of cherries, and then a soft kind of fruited kind of esteriness from the yeast itself. So let's dive in. Cheers. Okay, I'm getting that same kind of big bittering component that I got from the last one. Don't really get it on the nose, but you kind of get it in the taste. It's like it's a hop bittering, but it's more kind of like, since I'm dealing with a lot of fruit in this one, it comes off as more kind of like stemmy. And if you've ever eaten a plum or eaten any hanging fruit, there where it connects usually has a little bit of leafy green there, and then you have that kind of where the stem attaches to the core. And if you've ever kind of eaten that, yes, I've eaten it, and I think we all have at one point or another, it has that kind of bittering to it. It's like a vegetal, fruit, stalky, stemmy bittering, if you will. The fruit translates in the taste. It's pretty damn hefty. It's not as rich as a nose will lead you to believe, but it's there. So it's like almost like in the nose, it's like a nice ripened plumminess. This is more like a slightly under-ripened plumminess. That bittering is still a cool component. I'm not as gaga over the bittering in this one as I was with the previous one. And this is where, and I didn't even talk about it yet, this is, I think, where that kind of wine barrel comes through. It has to be kind of a softer white wine. You're getting a little bit of vinous character, a little bit of grapiness, and come to think of it, that bittering, I think, is a marriage between a little bit of hops and maybe a little bit of that oakiness. I think I'm getting a little bit of kind of almost like a bittering from the oak tannins, because there's a big dollop of vanilla in the middle of all of it, and it has to be from that wood, the wine barrel they used. It has to be coming from that wood. It's nice. It's complex. There's a lot of levels to this beer. Like I said, from the vanilla portion of the show, the fruited portion of the show, the level of acidity to it, to where, like I said, you're getting above your kind of kettle base, but you're not getting too far in that kind of enamel ripping realm. It's a tasty beer. I like it. I think it's a little bit too... not complex isn't the word. Too many hands in the kitchen, too many chefs in the kitchen. I think time might serve this well. It's still a tasty beer. I dig it. I like the way that hop profile plays. Like I said, not nearly as much as I did the previous one, but there's so many different flavors. They tend to come off a little bit detached, not entirely cohesive. I think a little bit of, like I said, a little bit of time might reconnect those. But it's tasty. It's nice. I dig it. It's fun. It's cool to see these kind of beers coming out of Jersey. I think I already went on this kind of little diatribe in my previous video, but see a lot of these kind of funky breweries popping up in Jersey. It's awesome. You know what I mean? So yeah, tasty, delicious. What other adjectives can I use? Damn fun beer, let's put it that way. You know, if I'm going to rate all of them next to each other, I still have one more bottle to go. But the previous one, I forget its name, that one, I'll post them in chronological order from when I reviewed them. The first one I reviewed, that was, for me, the king of the castle so far. So tasty, fun beer. I dig it. I like the way the fruit plays, the bittering. I like the way the kind of wine barrel plays more in the kind of oaky vanilla range, even though you get that little bit of veninousness in there. And fun beer all around. Let's talk about it. It's one of the better Saison farmhouse-y beers that I've had as of late. Definitely, it's worthy of being in a conversation. It's not out, but it's barely in. Only because I've had ones that have really turned me on quite a bit more. So even from the same brewery, as I've said like 13 times already. So yeah, it's a tasty, fun beer, but it's kind of that detachment between all the flavors not being cohesive that kind of keeps it from getting up there. Value and availability, I don't know how much these are. Like I said, I was lucky enough to have them sent to me, so if somebody wants to chime in with that, that's awesome. I don't even know if they're brewery only. They might hit the distro, they might not, and leave you with, if you like what we like this beer. If you like funky beers and you like fruit forward funky beers with a nice vanilla pop from wood, that's where this one kind of wheelhouses. So if those are your flavors that you really covet in beer and you want them all kind of one nice little package, so definitely do you proper. So there you go, another review in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Down there, words and stuff if you want to talk about it. Massive Beers if you want to check me out doing the social media stuff. Beer Massive if you want to check me out doing the whole podcasting thing. And hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully enjoying a nice little Kelly Green jammer right now, and hope to see you next time. Cheers.